Good day, everybody, and welcome back to the flight deck. We're down here in Gibraltar where we landed yesterday. It's currently a balmy 26 degrees, winds out of the west. A little bit of traffic here at the airport, as you can see. That TAP Portugal just landed, and it looks like the Iberia is about ready to go. Today we'll be flying the DC-6, all fully loaded with cargo, from here over to Menorca. So we're carrying about 19,000 pounds of cargo, and it should be a good flight. Once again, a night flight, and Kevin is joining us in his DC-6 over there. So let's get on board, and we'll get the aircraft set up and ready to go. Alright, let's get the flashlight on until we get power into the aircraft. So we're going to come down here. First thing we're going to do is tell them to do the before start. What software I'm using to stream? Streamlabs OBS. Beautiful lights on, power's coming up.
Voice recorder.
Doors are being closed.
Tested. Oil coolers and cow flaps. Auto in position. Fuel and fluids. Checked.
We'll get the door closed.
Pressurization.
Torpedo covers can come off and wheel chocks can come off. Parking brake is on.
Manifold and duct pressure. Checked.
And we can get that flashlight off now as well. Alright, radios and everything are coming up. We're going to set our transponder to 1000.
Doors and hatches.
And we'll come up top, get the GPS over and searching, and we'll start setting up our nav. So once again, we are going to go to 122.8 on the radio, as there's no controllers up currently here in VATSim.
Out.
And on COM 2,
Gear pins.
121.5.
Removed. 3 on board. Seat belts and pedals. Adjusted. Throttles. Set to idle.
And 121.5 is set. Now I'm going to set the Menorca VOR on 112.6. I'm going to set that over here on COM 2, just because we're going to use it as a reference point when we come in. We've also got an NDB we're going to be using. That's going to be on frequency 401, so we'll set that in here now. And we're going to make sure we're on ADF1, and we'll set 401. Now, we're going to have to do it this way. I was hoping it was a split dial type of thing, as we were kind of in the middle. Let's get to there, 401.1. There is. It was in a Twilight Zone episode. I'll switch that over so that's reading there as well. And we'll clear the message. And you can see us right there on the GPS, which we'll be using once again as a reference point. So the first two VORs, first one we're going to be doing is the MGA VOR. That is 112. Oops. Is that what I want? I want to switch down 112.0. The next one is going to be the AMR VOR of 114.1. So we'll get that dialed in. And that is set. So we're set up top here. We are ready for engine start when we get there. Only affects Boeing aircraft, yeah. All right, over to our fuel and load. So we are going to be carrying 10,476 pounds of fuel. So we can scroll that down. There's 10,000. 400, and we want 76. Trying to find the, should be one, there's the 10s. 10,475 pounds of fuel, close enough. Get all in the main tanks, and we are going to be taking 18,887 pounds of cargo. So we're going to put 2,600 in the back. That should give us 16.2 roughly. There's 17. And we're going to look at our gross weight. We want a gross weight of 85,561. So we're going to crank that up until we get to 85,562. There we go. So we are fully loaded, and everything is checked there. Engines, fluids have been topped up, and the aircraft is prepped and ready to go. Everything's done except for the ground power, and we are good there. So then we'll just do a quick radio check, and we'll be good to go. Gibraltar area traffic, Caribou 32, radio check.
5x5, how many box 5x6?
5x5 for boxcar. Alright, so the current weather down here in Gibraltar. So it is VFR, 26 degrees, winds are 280 at 15 knots, 10 miles plus visibility, ceiling is clear, QNH 1011. So we'll come down here and get that in, 1011. Make sure we are on both. There we go. And we're set. So doors are closed. Everything is good. Fred and Roger are in position. All our nav and comms are done. There's Kevin sitting over there. Kevin,
go to traffic, box 5x6, South Lamp, sitting on that.
yeah, Kevin, I think you're going to have to go first just because of the wing overlap. All right, so mixer is up. And mags are on. Start selector number 3, pumps are on, and we are ready to go. Gibraltar area traffic, Caribou 32 south apron, starting on the stand. All right, start them up, Roger.
3, 6, 9, 12.
There we go. There's the big rock. So you can see it. So when we take off, we're going to be swinging down south of the rock before we turn around.
Traffic, Portugal 696. Passengers deboarded. Have a lovely rest of your flight together to Mallorca. Yes, you too. Have a good day.
All right. So we're going to come up here on engine number 4. That's the tap that just landed, kind of saying have a good flight. Kevin acknowledged. Engine start, switch over. Fuel pumps are on. Starting engine 4.
3, 6, 9, 12.
Pump prime and boost are on. Good start on engine number 4. Bring engine number 3 down to low idle now. Engine 4 is coming up. The starter is off. So engine number 2, mixture is in rich. Mags to both. Start selector is now over on 2. Engine number 2 fuel pump is on, and that's for the main tanks over here. These are the auxiliaries, which are empty for this flight. And starting engine number 2.
3, 12.
Boost and prime are on. Good start. We can now bring engine number 4 down to low idle. looking good. I just heard the start switches come off, so we'll go mixture rich. Mags are over on engine 1. Fuel pump is on. Start selector over to engine 1 and starting 1.
3, 6, 9.
Hey Digital, tell me a funny thing to attempt to make it a copy pasta? Or copy paste? I'm not sure what you mean. Oh, there we go. Good start on engine number 1. We'll bring engine 2 down to low idle. Wait for the final switches to come off. And there we go. So we have a good start on all 4 engines. Engine 1 can come back to low idle. We don't want to be up in that 1200 area. It shakes the plane too much. Alright, let's do our after start checklist.
Start selected boost pumps. Off and off. Battery switch. Plane battery. Generators and inverters. Checked and on.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah. I'm not a funny guy.
Armed.
Sorry. I just
Ground power.
do what I do.
Removed.
Alright, let's come over here. Confirm ground power is removed. The engine aircraft is clear of all external hookups and equipment. And we're pretty much ready to go. So what we're going to do is, because it's a short taxi out to the runway and then we're going to be backtracking, we will be doing our before takeoff checks here
Boost pumps.
to get the aircraft ready to go, as it is a bit of a short run.
Boost pumps on low.
Monkey is sus.
Main tanks and crossfeed off. Autopilot and carb heat.
You're... no idea what any of that means.
Hydraulic system.
Alright.
Down, forward, pressure and quantity checked. Okay. Flaps 20.
So we're going to set around a 40-degree
Flaps
intercept
20.
radial.
Windows and turbine.
We'll see how that comes in.
Closed and on. Controls. Gust lock released. Free. Pitot heater. On. Mixture and cowl flaps. Reach and locked. Set. Transponder. On. Landing lights.
I'm going to turn off the one over on this side. Landing lights are coming down. There we go. Well, looks like we've got a 727 coming in. He's 15 miles out. Oh, nice effect on the props there from the lights. Alright, with that done and all our checks complete, we're going to come over here. We're going to kill the floodlights, and we're going to go to red light. Get ready for our departure. Yeah, I saw that. Alright, Kevin, Boxcar 553, this is Caribou 32. You're going to have to go first to allow for wing clearance.
Seems fine to me. If you hang left, you should be able to make it past for box 53.
Roger, then Gibraltar area traffic. Caribou 32 taxiing from the south apron to runway 27. We'll hold short on D for the arriving aircraft. Or Delta, as they call it in the business. Alright, so manual brakes on, parking brake is released. And we're going to head over here. So we'll swing it left. Got the lights of the aircraft coming in. And brakes are set. There's the arriving aircraft.
Gibraltar traffic pass 550, following the Caribou Cargo my Delta.
Yeah. I was giving you the opportunity to go first though, but that's fine. Just remember, I was generous. Easy with the copy paste in the chat though, Tommy. Alright, there's Kevin coming up. Beautiful day down here at Gibraltar. That's Spain over there. And of course we've got the big imposing mountain. So we're going to take off this way on 27, climb up, make the turn, and then south, and then a turn east coming around the mountain, and then we'll intercept the VOR heading back up towards Malaga, where we were last time. It's a 727-200 coming in. So we're going to rotate at about 112 knots. And we'll be doing a wet takeoff again, given our weight is up over 86,000 pounds. Don't forget to like on the live stream, hit the subscribe button if you already haven't. You can even hit the join button for the price of a cup of coffee a month. Help support us, especially when we're buying new aircraft. Like we recently purchased the PMDG 777, and its first stream will be this weekend. We'll be picking it up from the Boeing factory in just outside Seattle, and flying it down to Denver on its delivery flight. That will be this weekend. Not sure Saturday or Sunday yet. So we have that coming up we can look forward to. So I got to remember, I figured out why my landing was so bad. I was almost on stall coming in. Should be landing this thing at about 115 knots. So I got to keep that in mind. 120 down to the fence. Touchdown at 115. It's got okay brakes. It's got good reverse on the props, so that will get us in. No problem there. Just doing a quick check to no other aircraft outbound, and we are inbound, and we do have that Iberia that left, and then it's us two. And then I think Gibraltar is going to be shutting down for the night as this last flight comes in. BCS. I'm not sure who that is. They came out of Granada. So today's flight's only 504 miles. Yesterday's flight was just under 1,000. Done in half the time tonight. And the DC-6, good airplane, but it was designed in the late 1940s. So it is, DHL cabin. So it is rather slow. 200 knots indicated in cruise, roughly. And today we are going up to 14,000 feet. Well, speaking of which, something I'm always forgetting to do. While we watch this guy come in, we'll get our altimeter set to 14,000 feet so we don't all suffocate and fall into the Mediterranean. $14,000 feet is set. Postman. Yeah. See the little add-on there, adding those lights out there. Very helpful, and those buoys. Once he's down, we'll pull the head down, make our turnaround, and then wait for him to clear the runway. And just so you know, the Spanish border is not far away. Just on the north side of the terminal area here is the border. In fact, all these brown buildings you can see over here are in Spain. Looks like the 727 has the approach speed of a Cessna 172. There he is. Yeah, and it's making him a Aer Lingus or a generic like Airbus or something. Nice. Gibraltar area traffic, Caribou 32, backtracking runway 27 from Delta, and we'll hold for the arriving aircraft to clear the runway. I need that IVO. Yeah. Is it like a VMR? I can just drop it in and add it to the list? It's a bit like AIG. I took AIG out because it was a bit of a pain. Alright, let's get us turned around here. He's going in on the south side as well. There we go. Alright, we'll wait for him to get up and get off, but we are pretty much all set. So once again, we're going to be heading straight out, and then we're going to make our turn. We're going to turn south pretty quickly, a couple hundred feet, but we want to get down around the Rock of Gibraltar as quickly as we can. Looks like he's clearing the runway. Runway is vacated. So, manual braking on, parking brakes are released. Wet takeoff, please.
Water injection. On. 30 inches stabilize.
And
30
it's
inches
coming up.
stabilize. Stabilized. Cal flaps. Cal flaps. Cal flaps set. Full power, please. Going
Full power coming up. So we're going to head due south once we're up and climbing. A bit of manual flight here. Water injection is on. 50 inches. 55. 58.
Full power set.
Gibraltar area traffic, Caribou 32 departing runway 27 south turnout, Gibraltar. Let's see, once again we're nice and heavy, slow roll, 60 knots. $90 knots. 100 knots.
About traffic box 5 take kilometers and left by backtrack.
110 knots, adding in back pressure. 120. We are up.
Auxiliary, gear up. Gear selected up. Gear up, lights up. Flaps up. Flaps going up.
Alright, flaps coming up. We're going to begin our turn to the south. Flaps coming up.
Meter power. Setting meter power, 48 inches, 2600 RPM.
Speed about 140. Veto power maximum continuous.
Meter power set. Climb power. Setting climb power.
Speed's coming up to 160 for climb power. There we are heading south. That's North Africa ahead of us. Okay, we're not bad. We're going to come down here. Autopilot on. Autopilot engaged.
Take off checklist, please.
A little bit of nose down. Keep that about 165, 170.
After takeoff checks complete.
The rock is right here. Alright, we're looking good.
Gibraltar Static Box SSA rolling into runway 27, west to south.
We're now going to make our turn to the east. There's 2,000 feet. There she is. And there's Kevin rolling down there. There's our turn to the east. Wings level, continue our climb. Bring our climb rate up slightly. And that's us pretty much clear of the rock. So we're going to turn now to intercept the VOR. 64 miles to go. And you can see the shadow the rock puts down on Gibraltar there. And there's that add-on, adding the runner lights into the runway, and there's one on the other side for 09. And there we go. We'll come wings level. We're doing about 168 knots. 61 miles to go. And we're on our way to 14,000 feet. I do like the little things in this airplane, like this BMEP gauge is different from these ones, like it's been a replacement. Which is pretty cool. Gibraltar area traffic, Caribou 32 is approximately 10 miles to the southeast, heading of 045 degrees, climbing through 4,300. Last call for Gibraltar. Alright, so we're on our way, heading up to cruise. Again, this will be a bit of a process as we're climbing up. And then we're going to have a couple hours in the cruise, following the VORs along the southern shore of France or Spain, and then out across the islands there. I think Ibiza and another one, and then Menorca. Come over here and look at when we head into the PTC and
Gibraltar,
DP, we should be on a
free
heading
airborne,
of
4,000 foot. We're currently on a heading of 070, airway November 869.
Set this to about 66 degrees. This is a reminder. Good, we're 165 knots, 6,000 feet. We'll go back to standard pressure, 1013. There. We'll do the same over here for Roger. And we are slightly off the GPS nav course, and that is because that is based on heading straight from Gibraltar. We did that loop around. A little bit windy here. I'm going to pull up the weather, see if there's anything we need to worry about. We are entering an area of turbulence here. And there's a bit more out over Spain, which should be okay along the coast. There's a fairly big heavy turbulence and storm system going to be way to the north of us as it moves around, but we should be okay. Turbulence wise will be good. Just looking at weather wise, yeah, those storms are way to the north, so it should be all right as we chuck along here. So we're down about 163 knots, so we're going to do 2 notches forward on the pitch wheel, get the nose down slightly and increase our speed. We don't want to get below 160 for sure. You can see the engines working there, nice exhaust plume. There's the Gibraltar airport. I think that's Kevin over there. It's another fantastic night. And another good night for a night flight. We've got 6,000 feet to go. And being in the northern hemisphere, and since we're heading east, we should get some good tailwinds. That's 9,000. $40 miles to the VOR. Everything is looking good. At least we haven't had any props decide to feather on us. I think that's been fixed. It's 10,000 feet. $4,000 to go. Alright, let's see what we can do for music today. As we're working our way up. Kevin, let me know if you're hearing that. Alright, we're going to make a slight adjustment here. Oh, that's a little bit loud. Let me turn that down slightly. Make a little bit of a turn here just to get ourselves backtracked into that VOR. Yeah, should be hearing some type of musical thing. A little bit loud. Hey, Mr. Anderson, hello. Yeah, I do like this airplane. We did a good series with it a while ago, over a year ago, where we flew it around the world, following the old Pan Am routes, and we were missing it, so we decided to bring it back. Yeah, I know. Well, what can you do? I've got limited options, Kevin. Limited options. So there's 12,000 feet we've just gone through. So we got 1,500 feet to go to cruise. Then we'll get her leveled off. We'll see what our ground speed is. It looks like we're going to be ahead of schedule. Everything's planned at 200 knots, and we've got 220 at the moment. But yeah, the DC-6 is a good plane. I like flying it. There she is there. It's a little dark, but good workhorse. Coming up along the coast here at Malaga. 20 miles to go to the VOR, which is on the far side of town. And then we're going to make the turn off to the AMR VOR, which is, we didn't go to that one on the way down. This is the Almeria VOR. 1141. Alright, we got 400 feet to go, so we're going to slowly start bringing our climb rate down. Malaga. There's 500 feet, we're down to 400 feet, 300 feet, we'll try to hold her there. Do that last 200 feet here, and then we'll go into altitude hold. Miles out. Pretty clear skies here, so not too worried about clouds. Got the mountains over there. 80 feet to go. Give it a couple notches down and altitude hold. So there we are in the cruise. Starting to level off. Speed's coming up, so let's do our cruise checks.
Set cruise power, please. Setting cruise power.
Props are back. Manifold pressure is coming back.
Cruise power is set.
All right. And now they're going to monitor everything as we're coming in.
Cruise checks are complete.
Cruise checks are complete. 10 miles to go. But we're not actually tracking the VORs. Kind of doing this in a more... But that beat got rather noisy. Unfortunately, I can hear it as well, so it's kind of like thumping away in my headphones. 8 miles to go. 5 miles, we'll make the turn, or we'll set in the new VOR and make the turn. It's 101 miles. We should pick it up when we do the switch over. We're going to be basically following the coastline off in this direction. Alright, so we seem to be settling into the cruise. 237 knot ground speed. And there's 5 miles past, so we'll come up to the overhead. We're going to switch over to the next frequency, 114.1. The one after that is the VSJ VOR. We're going to tune that one in now on 1130. There we go. Pop back down here and we can make the turn. There we go, 102 miles. And we'll make the turn until we are pointing at the VOR. And there's the view outside. Watch for the needle to come straight. There we go. And then we'll adjust him at 258 knots. Not too shabby. Getting a good push tonight. So that is about 101 degrees. According to the charts, we're going to be a little bit off. That's fine. The one after that is going to be 89, so we'll just leave that there. Little reminders of what headings I want and stuff. We're heading to the VOR. So ultimately this series is going to take us down to Capetown, South Africa by the time we get all the legs in. Kevin, what would you say to starting this series earlier? Just because we're so low, and it's a shame to be missing all the visuals out here. If we were to start the series and say, I don't know, 1300 Zulu? Oh, look at that, eh? Good ideas, and I'm generous. So maybe for tomorrow we'll start at 1300 Zulu. I'll put a notice. Put a thing up on the Discord. There we go. So everyone has been notified. So at least we'll be able to see things now. That's okay. 1300. It's 9 o'clock for me. It's doable. Weird Guy Truman, can I show third person? Yeah. It's kind of dark, because it is nighttime. But there's the aircraft. It's the DC-6A, which is the freighter version. currently cruising at 14,000 feet with almost 19,000 pounds of freight on board. That's the channel livery, Caribou. Kevin's back here somewhere. You can see we get around this side, it's a bit darker. But we got the moon up there, so that's giving us that little bit of light over here on this side. You can see we're kind of following the coastline here. But it is noisy outside as well. Fun airplane to fly if you want to fly some of the older stuff, but still be big and complicated. You can use the automatic flight engineer like I do. Kevin does all of this stuff himself. And if you look at the cockpit with the amount of gauges and dials and everything that's in it, there's a lot to learn and a lot to do inside this airplane, as you can see. So it is a lot of fun. Alright, so we're 70 miles to go to the VOR. Still holding at 14,000 feet, still tracking inbound to the VOR. So, as we're in cruise, we'll do an instrument check. BVP is even across the board. Fuel pressure, all four engines, is looking good. Manifold pressure is good. Fuel flow is about where it should be. Engine number 2 is the least thirsty engine now. We have oil pressures are good. Oil temperatures are good. It's just above 0 degrees, so I'm going to turn the windshield heater on. Flaps are up. RPMs are good. Cylinder head temperatures and carb ice and water pressures for the injectors are looking fabulous. So let's pop up top. 10 degrees to 0. We'll turn on the heater just so that we don't get any icing if we do run into any moisture. Is it hard to learn how to do sims? No. It takes time. There is a lot to learn. The best thing is to start with smaller airplanes until you get familiar with them, like the Cessna 172s and stuff like that. Learn the basics of flying, and then you can start moving up to the bigger aircraft. A lot of it's checklists and procedures. If you don't get into failures, then it's pretty straightforward. You just got to learn the normal procedures. If you want to do failures like engine fires or circuit breakers or things not working on the aircraft that support that, it becomes a lot more, because you got to learn all the checklists for what goes wrong, how to fix it. But it's just starting small, work your way up. And thanks for the sub, Weird Guy Truman. Appreciate it. And it's working your way up to the bigger aircraft. They get a little more complex and complicated, but the basic principles are the same. So start with the easy ones, get up to the harder ones. Things like the DC-6, the 737s, some of the bigger aircraft and stuff, they're fun to fly. And it can seem there's a lot going on, but again, it's just repetition and procedures and learning how to do things. Now we're also on VATSim, which is a air traffic control network. And when it gets busy on VATSim, you have to know how to fly the airplane, because you can't be struggling to fly it while talking to the controllers and doing what they're telling you to do. So there's a competency level required. But for generally flying around and stuff, yeah, anyone can do it. It's a lot of fun. I tend to fly more realistic. Kevin even goes a step farther than me, but I enjoy it, and I encourage people to get in. At least give it a try. It might not be your thing. As you can see, I'm just sitting here right now monitoring as the aircraft flies along, checking position, checking distances, making sure everything's working the way it should. Some people find that boring. I kind of find it relaxing, even when I flew for real. It was kind of relaxing to do. So as discussed with Kevin, moving forward, we're going to start this series at 1300 Zulu. It's kind of a shame. Night flying is fun, and it's relaxing and it's cool, and you get to see all the lights and everything. But we're down low in DC-6, and we can't see the ground and stuff. So we'll start earlier, so we've got more light as we go. As we go through the series here. It's one of the problems with flying on VATSim. You tend to do it in real time, real weather, and currently, at the time I'm starting, when we started the stream, the sun was setting, so it's out of our hands a bit, given the where I am in the world and where we're flying. And the time zone shifts and everything. You can see down there the moon is really lighting everything up. It's going to disappear. The moon is setting. So I can make out the mountains. The thing with YouTube is the compression kills the nighttime stuff. I can see it a lot clearer than it is on the screen. Currently with the compression of the dark colors and everything, so it does make a difference. So while we're cruising along here, we got 45 miles to go. Let's take a look at the route we're going to be flying here. All right, so we're down here in Gibraltar. We took off, looped around the rock, headed up to MGA, and now you can see we're on the leg going between MGA. We're going to fly over to AMR. Work our way up to VS8 and then up to Alicante, at which point we're going to turn out over the water, and we're going, as you can see, over the islands here. I think that's Ibiza, and then I'm not sure what this one is, and then down here to Menorca, where we're going to be landing. We're actually going to do the arc, sort of. We'll manually do it, bring us around for the ILS runway 19er, unless the weather significantly changes. Right, so we're gonna have a little bit of a tailwind, but we got a long runway, so we'll be good there. And it brings us through. How's the Milky Way coming through on YouTube? Well, not too great. We'll see. We get rid of that. So we pop outside. We kind of saw it yesterday. I mean, there it is there. Follow it around. I can pick it up. I'm not sure how it's coming across. And, I mean, it's just this side of the moon here, coming down here. So it's probably not coming through great. I think it's looking like the Apollo 11 photos. No stars in the background. I mean, I can make it out. Well, I know where to look, too, on what I'm looking for, but I can make it out there. It'll be interesting to see when we're down in the bottom of Africa, there in South Africa, if we can see like the Southern Cross and stuff. Those southern constellations. I will say though, flying at night's realistic. We got 260 knot ground speed, which is fabulous. That's when most cargo flights happen. You go down to Atlanta, the big, I think it's FedEx out of Atlanta. Man, the planes coming in and out of there and overnight. It's huge. And that's part of the whole thing there is that they avoid the commercial traffic, which is mostly during the day. The sky is fake, yeah. Plus, hopefully, during the daytime, I'll be able to see what effects SimFX puts in the sim for this airplane. Dust and tire smoke and stuff like that. Alright, so we're coming to Almeria. That's, you can see it ahead of us there. Then we're going to pick up the VOR, which is just looking at the charts, just over here. Then we'll be heading up the coast. Ultimately making our way up to Alicante. A little bit of a sim freeze there. Miles to go. So if we take a look at what's our destination, L8BMH. Let's see what kind of traffic is going in there today. No one, just the two of us. Inbound and nothing departing at the moment. It's like we do have ATC online though. On the middle island, Palma de Mallorca approach. It is Palma de Mallorca. Menorca. Wow, those names are pretty close together. They're online, but we're gonna skip right past them. Won't be talking with them. We're not heading in there. That's the second of the three islands. $3,000 foot to 9,500. 1,900 is the ILS intercept. We're going to see if we can intercept the ILS today. And for the arc, just looking to see if they give any altitudes for the arc. They don't. Probably maintain 3,000 because Dovan on the ILS is at 3,000 feet, and then we'll descend from there. So we'll get down to 3,000 feet for the arc. And we're going in from the PTC NDB. That wants us at 4,000 feet. So yeah, down to 4,000 feet as we approach the arc, 3,000 feet for the arc. It's all looking good. Again, not a lot to see out here. No, we're drifting off of the VOR. That's fine. We're going to be heading to the left anyway, so we'll come out and pick up the next one and head up. That's me blabbering on and not watching 100% where we're heading. First Officer Molly is sleeping in the doorway. Yeah, the winds they've swung slightly more to the north, so our, although the wind is down to 6 knots. So it's only a 3 knot, 3 or 4 knot tailwind. What are the options for runway 1? I've got an ILS for runway 1. It's simpler. I mean, there is a smaller arc for it, ETC-2B. So the same 3,000 feet on the arc, come around. Yeah, we could do that. And the wind, it's keeps creeping north, so I think we're gonna get more of a headwind if we go with 0-1. So I've made that adjustment for myself. I mean, there's no ATC up, and there's no one else going in there, so we've got the airport to ourselves. And if we take a look at the ATIS, well, Palma is running east-west runway, so it doesn't help us out with that. Alright, we're flying by the VOR. I'm chattering again and missing our thing, so we're going to switch over at 113, and the next one is going to be 1138. So we'll dial that in while we're up here. Pop back down. We now got the new heading. So we'll make our left turn and we will intercept. It is. It's a shorter arc. All right. Heading up towards the next VOR. 82 miles to go. 258 knots. Of ground speed. We're chucking along here. Get rid of that. I'll have to do a search of FlightSim.to and see if there's any good freeware airports for Africa. So I'm gonna go down 10,000 feet. So I'm gonna want about 50 miles. To get to the arc. The arc is distance to the arc. That's Balio. Where's Balio? Balio is. Oh, it's short. 10 miles, so I'm gonna have to start down before PTC. Well, 10 miles or so. Time for Fred to break out the thermos. Lovely. Alright, still not showing any weather ahead. All the weather seems to be to the north. Yeah, to be north. We may get some when we leave Alicante and head out across the Med. There may be some clouds to the north of us, but other than that, it shouldn't be too bad. Monitoring position here. Plus, Kevin, the bonus is maybe we'll get some ATC up if we're up earlier in the day. I think it's, what is it, 10 to 11 in this part of the world. It's getting kind of late. See how we're doing with the moon? She's still there. Don't know if she's heading towards full or new. But this is a great time to do night flying. You get the moon reflecting on the water, clear skies, you can see the ground. the moon can provide a lot of light. I remember when I was out with the army one time, we were doing some patrolling stuff, and it was like 3 in the morning, middle of winter. Of course, everything's snow covered, cloudless sky, so it was cold, clean, crisp air, and a brilliant full moon. And literally, it was like being outside in daytime, except everything was in black and white. It was pretty bright. I had no trouble seeing anything out there. Navigraph locked up. That's why the weather went down. It's not showing anything now. I was trying to get an idea of movement of that precipitation to the north, see which way it was heading. Oh well, it's all good. Well, we usually get, we've had grease and stuff like that, so we might get them when we're out in that area in a couple legs. Not sure about down in Africa. I mean, the only ones I've seen in Africa was I had Cairo once, and then that guy we had out in Casablanca. That time we did the transatlantic. But, or we came out of the Canaries or something, I can't remember. But yeah, not too much down in Africa. In fact, even right now, I mean, Portugal is up. Jeddah in Saudi is up, but everything else is dark. In fact, there's very, if you look at the map on VATSim, there's like 3 aircraft in Africa itself compared to Europe, where it's like several hundred. It's kind of interesting. So I think we're going to be kind of alone down there. Alright, let's make a slight turn to the left here, get ourselves pointing back at the VOR. There we go. Yeah, I can see events and stuff coming up, and I have seen events for like Johannesburg or anything like that, but yeah, that's why I want to go down there. Well, nobody goes down there, so let's go to Africa, fly around, see what's there, see what the sim offers down there. That's why I also want to do that series in the Himalayas. Right, we'll see the Himalayas, go to some of the remote airfields out there. Sure, we don't get many people flying there either. I know we did the flight to Mount Everest and we circled around it. I think we were using the Twin Otter for that one. But I like to use the DHC4 Caribou for the Himalayas. That'll be a cool one. I've got the aircraft, I got the livery all selected for it. Not bad, we're coming up on halfway. And we got 31 miles to go to the next VOR. The VJS, or VSJ VOR, sorry. After that we turn left, we head up to Alicante, the ALT VOR, and then we head right and we head out towards Ibiza. Palma's still up. I think I got scenery for Palma from way back when. Oh, here, let me get that for you, Kevin. J-Hog, how's it going? Hope you're having a good evening. Getting late for you over there. Gonna be burning the midnight oil soon. Make one final adjustment to the left. Get us heading back to the VOR. You just landed in Sydney? It's 10 p.m. Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, my Zulu clock, yeah. It's 9:10. It's a good evening. How was your flight to Sydney? How long was your flight to Sydney? Did you do a long haul, or were you flying local in Australia? Speaking of which, I just booked my airfare to Sydney, Australia for February. Holy cow. We can't go direct from Toronto, so we got like a 2-hour layover in Vancouver. 22 and a half hours from Toronto departure to arrival in Sydney. And it spends 2 days, so I'm leaving on a Monday, arriving on a Wednesday. Crazy. checking the Palma controller. He's been up for an hour and a half. Probably be up for a little bit longer. Fuel check is looking good. And we'll fly this down to 5 miles, and then we'll switch over to the Alicante VOR. Nine miles out. Outside air temperature is down to 0 degrees. So we'll leave the switch where it is. If it gets much lower, we'll switch it down to the next notch, which is below 0. Again, not expecting much in precipitation, but I am starting to see a thin layer of clouds out over the water. So soon. Thanks, J-Hog. Appreciate it. Catch you on the next one. Alright, so there's 5 miles. We'll pop up top. We're going to tune in the 113.8, which is the ALT, or Alicante VOR. The next one is 117.8. So 117.8 is in. That is the Ibiza VOR. With that done, we'll pop down. 32 miles to the next one. We've got our heading, so we'll begin a nice gentle turn, and we'll pick up our heading to Alicante. All right, 31 miles to go. And of course, Alicante is right ahead of us. We can make it out up here. Fun fact, if you ever watched any of the recent Volvo ocean races, that's where they would start from here in the Mediterranean, in Alicante, Spain. And they're racing sailboats. For 261 miles direct line, so I'd say we got about an hour and a half to go by the time we get in our turns and our approach. and everything. And based on 600 pounds per engine per hour, if we look at our fuel, we're at 15, 16, 17. We've almost got just under 3 hours of fuel on board, so fuel is not a concern today. Our estimated landing weight is going to be 80,000 pounds, which is also our max landing weight. So we're going to be touching down at about 112 knots, and hopefully that will give us a smoother landing. So we want to maintain about 130 on the approach and then come back to about 112 as our reference speed. $13 miles to go. And again, down at 5 miles, we'll go up and switch over. And that will be over to the Ibiza VOR. So we're going to be heading offshore and heading out to the islands. So when we land, it's going to be a right-hand turn off of the runway, and we're going to be parking at the north end, stand number 1 or 3, whichever one we come into first, and that is up at the cargo terminal. Checking distances there. So it's about 10 miles or so, 10, 15 miles before PTC. We'll start our descent. And then, of course, we'll do some manual adjustments from there as we descend down. So 4 miles out. Switch over now to 1178. We'll take Alicante up on board. The next one is the actually going to be the ILS, because after Ibiza it's going to be the PTC NDB, and then we're going to use nav 2 on the airport, so 110.3. be the ILS, or it's 110.3. Come down here now and begin our right turn to pick up the next VOR. 97 miles out across the Mediterranean. While we get ourselves straightened out, we're going to come down here. We're going to turn this to 007. That is the runway heading. So we'll leave that in there. Going to pop up top. That shouldn't be on GPS. Well, doesn't matter. That would be a warlock, so it's on nav mode. So 007 is set. That will be for the ILS. Now we're heading off to the VOR. We'll see the island soon off in the distance. Looks like Kevin's about 35 or so miles behind me. Alicante out the window. And once again, we'll see if they're going to betray me with the landing gear. They tend to do that. Not sure what's going on with that. .268 knot ground speed right now. Very nice. Gonna make some good time on this these two legs. So we'll fly outbound on the same heading from Ibiza. It's another 94 miles to the PTC NDB. And I'm showing the same heading as we're on right now. So we'll make sure we're flying directly to the VOR, and then we'll fly directly out as well. Hello, First Officer Molly. Yeah, I know. You'll get your dinner when we're done. Actually, let me go do that now. It's pretty quiet. I'm going to step away for a minute and feed the dog. Alright, First Officer Molly has her dinner. She's eating it behind me. Fullback Jack. Yeah, it is pretty relaxing. I do prefer the outside view, although it's dark and you can't really see the airplane right now, but it's kind of noisy out there. So, a little bit of music going, the drone of the engines, the island of Ibiza coming up. 40 miles away now. We're doing good. Coming towards the end of the leg. After Ibiza will be Palma to Menorca. And ATC is up there, but we'll see see if he beeps us. He shouldn't, because we're just going to be passing through. We're not arriving or departing out of there. I'm not sure what his boundaries are. Palma approach. Do. 35 miles to go. Starting to make out the lights of the island there. And we're holding steady at 14,000 feet. Hey, well, Jack, I'll tell you, I used to play movies. So I have a whole collection of what are legally copyright-free and public domain movies. It's all black and white movies from the 50s and 40s and stuff like that. And I used to play them. I had a whole thing set up. We'd watch the movies and all that. Well, a recent change at YouTube with their terms and conditions and the ever-evolving copyright bullshit that they have. Every single stream and video I've had up, and I've got over almost 900, has been flagged for copyright violations, which is ridiculous because I'm getting the movies off of public domain archives and stuff like that. So that's what I used to do. Don't do that anymore. A lot of the music I used to play has been flagged as well, even though it said it was copyright free. So I don't know. It's a pain. It's not like any of those videos are being monetized at the moment. I'm not quite at that level yet, but it's a pain. So usually for this, I'm just monitoring, talking with guys in the chat. I've got the puppy to take care of, which I was just doing with dinner. So I'll get up and do that. It's kind of hard streaming because I got to be somewhat connected if there's people watching and stuff. Hi, girl. If there's people watching, but if I'm doing it on my own on a longer flight, I'll read a book. I've got multiple computers here. I'll put YouTube videos up that I'll watch on another computer. Stuff like that, and just kind of monitor the sim. But also got to deal with the dog now, who's about 15 months old, so she gets a little demanding at times and wants to go out or wants fed or just wants attention, which is what she's doing right now. So just getting her head rubbed. So that's how I keep myself busy. Sometimes grab a book and read too. Just sit here and read and watch. The problem is a lot of the flights I fly for the virtual airline I belong to. This isn't one of them. But the weekend's flight will be. So I got to remain close because there's a tracker that watches us, and we got to report in every so often to make sure we're still there and all that stuff. So it can be a little bit restricting. There's the Palma Menorca Airport. You can pop outside. You can see the island, or sorry, not Palma. This is Ibiza. You can see the island and that other little island over there, and there's the airport. We're going to fly right over and keep on this heading. We're heading out to Palma, which is the next island. We can see the big one out here, right on the horizon. That's where we're headed. I can feel you growling. There's nobody there. It's funny, at about 10 months old, she decided she was going to be a guard dog. And And now every time somebody moves outside my door in the hallway of the building, she's getting all defensive and growling and sometimes barking. But it's good. You're okay. There's nobody here. Okay, you want to go lie down now? Or you want to go finish your dinner? You ate most of it. You did. Molly got a treat. I went to Wendy's on the way home from an appointment this morning for lunch, and they gave her a fully cooked burger patty all on its own. And she had that for her lunch when we got home. Nice treat for a Tuesday. Okay, nice treat for a Tuesday. Yeah. Hi. Still got a few aircraft heading into Palma. Control just went down, so ATC is no longer online at Palma. They're on their own. Looks like an EasyJet just took off and he is signed off. So that's good. We'll be flying straight through. So we'll be beginning our descent about 10 miles before the PTC NDB on Palma. That'll give us time to get down, fly the ARC, and get down to ILS intercept level. Stop. And as mentioned, over for the rest of the series, we're going to start at 1300 Zulu instead of 1930 Zulu, and that will give us some daylight to fly in, and because we're lower down, we'll get some better views. Although, you know, nighttime is nice. All right. So we're going to make a slight right turn. We don't want to turn too much because we don't want to be off angle when we hit the NDB. So we're just going to do this slight right turn, bring us kind of back a little bit to about there. We are going to get the swing because we are getting close. So we're going to leave this dialed in until we get to PTC NDB. At which point we can switch over, and we'll be flying down and kind of manually doing the radio. Yeah, I'm working now. Okay. You gonna lie down? You wanna lie down? Okay, now that you had your dinner, you wanna lie down? You want to go downstairs, don't you? You want to go outside? Outside? Yeah, okay. Alright, so as we come in here and we cross over, we are en route tracking out towards the next waypoint. It is 94 miles away. That is fine. I have to take Molly quickly downstairs before we get in for our approach and landing. So I'm going to run out and do that right now. I will be back. Enjoy the music, enjoy the view at the front, and hopefully I'll be back in about 5-6 minutes. All right, we're back from running Molly downstairs. So we're about 50 miles out from Ibiza. We're not picking up the NDB yet. We're going to start down at about 94, 84, 80 miles out. We'll begin our descent downwards. And again, we'll be doing manual adjustments as we come in and start getting ready for our arrival into Menorca, however you pronounce it. Rockin' no GNS. Yeah, I got a GPS up here, which I just use as a reference to make sure I'm not straying too far from the route. Other than that, we're doing VORs and NDBs and dead reckoning. So, old school, Luke. Old school.
Mayor, EXGB, 40 Romeo Golf, 90
Not sure who that was. Don't recognize the call sign within the area. Right, so we're about 60 miles out, so we're going to be, as I mentioned, starting down at about 80, so we got 20 miles to go before we start heading down. Yeah. Well, I was going to use the GPS just because I do the stream, so I put the VORs into the GPS. I was going to let it fly the GPS route, but it has issues. So now I'm just manually turning and not necessarily flying radials, more flying direction to beacon type thing. And then GPS is a backup, so... you think? I mean, there's no conflicting traffic. Everyone's heading inbound. And the, well, I do have an aircraft coming. Is he descending? Yeah, he is descending. So how far south am I? 10, 20 miles. Palma de Menorca traffic, Caribou 32 is approximately 20 miles to the south. Flight level 140 en route to Menorca. Caribou 32. Something like that. Oh, there we go. We've got the NDB coming in now. So we're going to turn towards the NDB. We'll get that straight up and down. There we go. So we're now heading in towards the PTC NDB, being the Porto Colom NDB. Thanks, Coach. So we're still kind of far out. So Nav2 needle is going to be picking up the Menorca VOR, which it's already doing. So if I go over to Nav2, you can see we're 75 miles away from that. Flying for NOAA, doing some weather observation. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool idea. Let me just pop up top here. We're now going to switch over since we're tracking the NDB inbound, and we'll track it outbound as well. We're going to switch over to the ILS frequency now. There we go. That's going to dead out, which is fine. basically what we're going to do when we hit the NDB, we're going to follow on our heading for the VOR number 2 or nav 2 until we get ready to do our close in on the arc. Yeah, it is. And we had the aircraft service in Edinburgh before we started the series, and we flew it down to London Heathrow, and we were vectored in at Heathrow. So yeah, it got busy in the cockpit. But this series is going to be good. This is our second leg. We're flying basically London Heathrow to Capetown, South Africa. It's a series of 15 legs or so. We're heading across the Mediterranean at the moment, and then we're going to go down through Egypt and down the east side of Africa all the way to the bottom. So it should be pretty interesting. Actually, I'm going to switch back because I wanted that 80 knot reference point. So we're 3 miles out. And we're going to hold our descent at around 800 feet per minute or so. Other aircraft going by, there he is right there. That's the one that's heading to Ibiza. And there's the airport down there for Palma. Yeah, I like doing some of these older aircraft and older flights. I've got a series planned out where we're going to be flying the DHC-4 Caribou in the Himalayas, doing some cargo runs up there, so that should be pretty cool as well. All right, there's 80 miles as we're coming in. Again, this takes a little bit of time to slow down, so we're going to want to give it that time. Altitude hold's coming off. We're going to crank her down to approximately 800 feet per minute on the descent. There we go. We'll just keep an eye on that. May drift back up to 5. We'll give it another notch. Make sure we're heading towards that NDB. A little bit more on the right turn. We'll give it one more click down bubble. Speed's coming up, which is expected. Since we're in the descent stage now, I'm going to go in and turn off the music. Let's keep watching. Again, we're waiting for the swing, and then we're going to head towards VOR number 2, and then we'll switch the other one over to the ILS. Forgot what sequence I was doing things in here. 13,000 feet. Alright, so let's get the current weather down in Menorca. Alright, VFR conditions 27 degrees Celsius, winds are 5 knots, 070, so we're going to be on 01 with a little bit of a headwind, a little bit of a right crosswind. 10 plus kilometers visibility, no ceiling, and 1010 on the barrow. So let's get that dialed in. Make sure we have accurate readings. So there's 1010 and 1010 over on Roger's side. Molly's finished her treat after her trip outdoors. Just lying there. Hopefully she'll stay there until we're down, and then I'll give her some attention. Alright, so there's swing on the NDB, so we're gonna now turn to VOR 2 needle. That's gonna fly us directly towards the airport, which is what we want, because that is actually the path as well for the approach. There we go. And we can now come up here and switch over to the ILS frequency 110.3. 110.3. It's going to be heading of 007, and I've already dialed that in down here on the OBS. Big Boss 45, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying. Say hello in the chat if you're kicking around. Right, so the airport's on the south side of the island. It's on the west side of the city. So it's on our side of the city. So we're basically going to be flying out and then making a right turn, doing a sort of DME arc, if you would, out to intercept the ILS. ILS intercept altitude is 1,600 feet. So that is what we're ultimately heading down for. We want to be 4,000 minimum for this leg, 3,000 on the arc, and then down to 16 for the intercept. Might go down a little bit earlier. We are over water, so altitude is not really a concern. And we'll see if we can get the ILS to work. If not, we'll do it manually. We're at about 600 foot per minute descent. We're going to notch that up one notch, get her back up to around that 800, 900 foot per minute. And as we come up for 10,000 feet, we'll do our descent checks.
26 inches, please. Setting 26 inches.
Power coming back to 26 inches.
26 inches set. Descent checkpoints, please. Altimeters and flight instruments cross-checked. Seatbelt signs on. On. Engine blower is low. Low. Descent checks are complete.
Descent checks are complete. We got a higher airspeed now. Obviously, we are descending. There's the island. I'm just starting to see it come in. And there goes Palma off in the distance. 9,000 feet. Starting to see the lights there for the island. And there's Palma behind us. Once again, moon's still coming down. And Kevin's back here somewhere, just out of draw distance, but not too far behind us. She came out of her descent there. I think it doesn't like me going into an external view when we're doing that. We'll get her back descending down. descend a little bit quicker. Make out some flashing lights. I think that's the airport. 24 miles out now. $7,000 feet. And we've lost the NDB. I'm going to turn in 334. That is the Menorca VOR. Or sorry, 344. There we go. There it is, pointing to it. Sending down. Yeah, definitely seeing the lights there. So we're going to come down a little bit further, and then we're going to make a turn out and come around for the intercept. Again, we're coming down. We want that initial 1,600 feet for the ILS. It's 5,000. So we're going to make our turn now. And we're going to make that turn to approximately 135 degrees. It's coming up on 4,000 feet. There's 120, 130. 5. So as we're coming level, we'll do our in-range checks now.
Cooling turbine. Normal. Fuel booster pumps.
Glide slope is showing, localizer is showing.
On low. Fuel tank selectors. Mains on, crossfeed off. Hydraulic bypass valve. Down. No smoking signs. On. In-range checks complete.
There's 3,000 feet coming up. Hold at 3,000. And for landing checklist.
Setting flaps 20.
Let's see if she'll carry on this one. Flaps 20 speed coming back. 180. 160, gonna start making our turn. He's not gonna do it. So gear down. Lights on. Props fully forward. Speed's 140. No, you're supposed to be leveling off. Not diving down. Alright, that's annoying. Let's see if I can get her to lock in. Pop outside, gears down, 120, we'll get that speed up to 130. 13.5 miles out. I can't remember if I'm doing something wrong or if it's just not working. There's the localizer coming in, so over to the approach mode. There's the turn. Keep that speed 130, 140. Airport's ahead. Menorca area traffic, Caribou 32, 11 miles out, runway 01, established ILS, runway 01, Menorca. All right. Watch for the glide slope, 135 knots. So gear down. 3 green, you gotta do flaps, props fully forward. Fuel tanks are all on the correct settings and we're all good there. Let's wait for that glide slope to come in. And I'll release the altitude hold. Again, there we are, there's the town, there's the airport and the runway. We don't need to stop too quickly. The cargo area is up at the north end. So that's fine, we can roll for a bit. Just keeping an eye on the glide slope needle. Usually as it comes down to the dot is when I release the altitude hold. Movement. on the localizer, 6.5 miles out. There we go, altitude hold is released. Let's hope capture 30-degree flaps.
Menorca traffic box 553, currently 18 miles out of the field. We're inbound on the border column 5 Bravo arrival, 2 Bravo arrival for the ILS 101.
We got a little bit above the glide slope there as we ballooned. Should bring us back in, 40-degree flaps. We're bringing that power back. Alright, we're going to land at about 112 to 115, so we're going to hold about 130 at the moment. There's 3 miles, full flaps. There's 120. I'm going to hold 120 over the fence. Bring that ILS back in. Hold that 120. Two whites, 2 reds. Looking good. Autopilot disconnected. On manual. 120. Bring the power back slightly. Start coming down to that 115 for touchdown. Much better. Oh, there she goes. I don't know why she keeps wanting to do that. Put on the brakes. I think it's because my rudder pedals move. I got to get something to anchor these things. They're on a tile floor, and if I put a lot of pressure on them, they start to rotate, and I think that's what's causing the issue. But there we are, we're coming off at Foxtrot. We'll make sure we get her over the line here. Menorca area traffic, Caribou 32, clear runway 01 at Foxtrot. Alright, Fred.
Menorca traffic, Foxtrot 53, turning final, runway 01.
After landing checks, please. Alright, so we're going to go to parking stand 3.
After landing checks complete.
That will give Kevin room to come. Actually, we're going to go to 1. And then he can adjust off to the side as we get there for the space he'll need. So we'll pop outside, get our view. I think I gotta go to the hardware store and get something that will help hold the pedals in place. I know it's got like bolt holes for entering into the floor. I mean, that's how much they kind of recommend at times. Alright, so we're going to taxi Menorca area traffic, Caribou 33, taxiing Foxtrot Tango Echo to the north neighborhood. Oh, lovely moon set there.
Menorca traffic path, fully established on ILS from 01, 8 miles.
There was a small path on Juliet, but I think it's too small for us. Alright, this is Echo. Love the floating lights. There's the guys waiting for us. And that's the that's the cargo building. And there's spot number 1. A little bit so we can see him. There he is. Got the torches out. And we are arrived. Alright, so let's bring the engines up to about 800 RPM. Run them for a minute. Get all that good oil up out of the sumps and lubricating the engine for shutdown. And then we're pretty much ready to go. So we'll come over here, we'll get the floodlights on. And Roger, you can shut her down.
Parking brake is set. Cut engines.
And there's Kevin landing in the distance. And there we go. So they're going to do their thing. Click, click. Turn my flashlight on now.
Parking checks complete.
There they go.
Secured.
So we're going to get the ground power hooked up. We're going to request e-boarding. We're going to open the exit. And we will get the stairs out. Make sure the wheel chocks are in place. And the pitot covers are in.
Do you want to deboard crew?
Yeah, we'll get the
Crew
crew
bus
off
is
as well.
coming.
So here we are. Welcome to Menorca. So we'll be back tomorrow morning at 1300 Zulu. That's 9 o'clock for me. And we will see you then. As we leave here, we head off on the next leg of our journey. Thank you very much for coming along. To the new subscribers today, thank you very, very much. Big Boss, Weird Guy, Truman, and we had Nuno 747 yesterday. So it's been nice. Thank you guys, and we will see you all on the next one. Don't forget to come over to the Discord if you want more information about what we're flying when, if you want to see photos, if you want to join in the conversation, ask questions, get help. If you want to fly along, the information about what, where, and when we're flying is posted there as well, and you can always ask. Thanks again. We will see you on the next one. Bye for now.